How's everybody doing, Tampa? I'm sorry, am I in Tampa or am I in, I don't know, St. Pete? How are you doing this morning? All right, we're almost there. How many of you here for the first day? How many of you weren't here yesterday for MegaCon? Shame on you, but you're here now. That's what's important. That's the only thing that's important to me, is that you're here now. My name is Moises. We're going to have some fun. I've got some questions to start off with Rachel, and then we're going to turn it over to you, but only if you get up to the lovely Q&A mic that we have set up right here. So if you've got questions, if you want to go ahead and start lining up, feel free to line up. Now, to properly start off Super Saturday of a convention weekend, we really have to warm up the room, warm up the convention. Do you think you can help me with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's do a test. Okay? On 3, just try to blow the roof off of this room. Do you think you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's bring her out. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachael Macfarlane. Come on. You did it for me a second ago. You can be louder than this. You can be louder than this. They can still be louder than this, Rachel.
Is this on? Hi.
It's on. How are you?
Hi. Oh my God, you guys. I feel like this is like maybe one of the only cities that I'm going to visit where this really actually works. But I think I can say, good morning, Tampa Bay. I got a feeling that, right? Tampa Bay. Good morning, Tampa Bay. Super happy to be here.
I feel like we're starting the morning show. In the 11
Right?
o'clock hour, we've got
11? All right, let's get comfortable.
So if you want to start lining up, do my job for me. I'm incredibly lazy. Rachel's learned this already about me.
Oh no, you're great.
Oh,
you're great.
Come on.
So happy to be here, guys.
You're wearing an interesting little button there. It has a bit of a message to it. Nerds vote. It's declarative, you might say.
It is declarative. I mean, nerds vote. Everyone votes. I mean, I'm sure.
Who's
voting.
not yet registered to vote? Everybody's registered to vote. Good. You passed the first test. 100 points to Gryffindor.
Amazing. Wow, you guys, we're gonna have a good time this morning. There's so much to talk about. We can answer your questions. I can tell you a little bit about myself and my journey into voiceover, whatever you want to talk about. I'm here for you.
Rachel, can I take us back in time?
Yes.
When you were a kid, what were you into? You see people running around these conventions who were dressed as characters from Star Wars, from Harry Potter, from all this kind of stuff. What were you into? What was your mega fandom as a kid?
Well, I'm a big musical theater dork. We should have said that up.
Oh, so we should have greeted you by saying, good morning, good morning.
Yes. We talked the whole night through. Wow,
Good morning.
that's really low-key. Big musical theater fan. I started doing, well, actually, Seth and I did theater together from the time we were, God, probably 7 and 9 years old. We lived in this tiny town in Connecticut called Kent in the northwest corner, which had this amazing community theater program, and so we were doing Gilbert and Sullivan musicals when we were 7 and 9 years old. Like I was in the Mikado when I was in 4th grade. I shit you not, sorry.
It's okay, you watch American Dad now.
Right, yes, you know what you signed up for.
I'm not even nervous. I'm not even going, there are children in the room. These children have heard this.
Yeah, right, it's 2018. No, so big musical theater dork, and honestly, I was also really into comics, but one comic in particular, which I will tell you, in all of my years of doing San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con, I have yet to find this comic book. Did anybody read Katie Keene? Oh my God, crickets. If I could do Dee Bradley Baker's cricket noise right now, that would be amazing. Really? No Katie Keene? That's why I can't find it at the cons.
Katie Keene, all right. I have a question.
It was like the Archie comic company did Katie Keene. I was a big fan. I had my comics in little sleeves. I would like pull them out on Saturday morning and put them on my bed and reread them.
Were you a cartoon watcher? Were you into particular cartoons? What were your loves? What were your go-tos?
Well, again, with an older brother, he sort of dictated.
Total dork.
Yeah. So He-Man was really big for us. Love He-Man. The G.I. Joe, the original G.I. Joe. Honestly, when I think back to my childhood, He-Man is kind of a, yeah. I'm Adam, Prince of Eternity.
The microphone's getting very lonely there. I like doing my job, but if I don't have...
Oh, there's a brave soul.
Look at that. All I
morning.
had to do is
Thanks
coax
for
him just a
coming
little
and chatting
bit.
with us.
Welcome. What have you for us?
What's your favorite voice to do?
Well, I do primarily animation, and I've sort of become the go-to person for British characters in Los Angeles right now. I do a lot of stuff on Sophia the First, on Tom and Jerry, and I'm always a Brit. But you know, it's funny when they brought me in to do Haley. You know, I was like, oh God, I'm really gonna have to gear up for this. This is gonna be tricky. And it was like, okay, you ready, guys? I'm gonna do my Haley voice. Hi. Really challenging. So, I mean, if I'm looking for an easy day, Haley, because I love the Brits. That's my favorite thing to do, yes. And I play this character on Sophia the First, again, which I don't know if any of you have kids, but, so Cedric, who's the sorcerer, I play his sister Cordelia, and it's a wonderful character. I love her so much. I have such a good time. And I get to sing. It's wonderful. I like my Brits. Thank you. Okay, so can we do this thing where you tell me who you are? Because I'm all old and I don't know.
I'm supposed to be Judar from the series Moggy.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
My question is, what's your favorite moment in American Dad?
I laugh because we've been doing this show for so long, right? Next week, we start season 14, which is insane. I mean, I was in my 20s when I started recording this show.
So
no, I'm not in my 20s any longer. But so it's a lot of data to go through thinking of my favorite moment. But I think it was an episode called Joint Custody. Does anybody remember this episode? Okay, it's going back a little bit. But I think it was Stan and Roger and Jeff are in a convenience store and they're totally baked. And Roger thinks that if he lets go of this bag of kitty litter, he's gonna float away, right? So he's just like clutching this bag of kitty litter, and then at the end he does let go of the kitty litter and he floats away. That kills me still. That's my favorite moment. It's totally random.
It's definitely one of my favorite shows, American Dad.
Thank you.
I'm just saying this, I definitely think when your brother was drawing Haley, he said, you know what, this is perfect for my sister.
So, did I meet you yesterday? Are you Jane?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Jane. It's good to see you again.
Jane in disguise.
Jane in disguise. Jane was not. She did not have black hair yesterday. She had blonde hair. Do you guys want to hear the story of how I got this role?
Rachel, it's why everyone's here.
I'll tell you because it's a really interesting story. So, I moved out to Los Angeles 20 years ago. I was a big musical theater fan and I had thought I wanted to be on Broadway. But when I moved to New York, I realized that wasn't, in fact, what I wanted to do. And so I came to Los Angeles just to visit my brother back in the summer of 1998. And he had just started Family Guy. Like, it hadn't even aired yet, right? We were still in production. And he brought me in to read for Meg. And my Meg was more like a Peta. She was pretty crass and she had a Boston accent like a father. It didn't work out originally. Does anybody remember who the original Meg was? Lacey Chabert, right, Lacey Chabert. So, whatever, I just moved there. I started working on a lot of the other Cartoon Network shows that were out at the time, Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, shows of our childhood. So anyway, I guess, Family Guy got canceled and they started working on American Dad. Family Guy got canceled for the first time. And I was up for Haley. Seth brought me back in and he was like, hey, I think you'd be really good for this. So how they do it, I'm not sure if you guys know this, so they'll have all these auditions and the producers and show creators will pick their top 3 people that they like. And they'll submit those recordings to Fox, who will listen to them blindly. They don't know who it is, and they'll cast based on which voice they think fits the character best. So I was not the original Haley. Does anybody know who the original Haley was? Crickets. Laura Prepon. From that 70s show at the time, that was really popular. So I got the call from my brother. I remember I was back east in Boston visiting family and friends, and he was like, it didn't go your way, you didn't get it. And my career was trudging along at that point. I was like, God, is this voiceover thing gonna work? I'm not getting enough work to really make a career out of it yet. Oh, I was devastated. We were both in tears. It was a rough time. And so, you know, I don't know, a month went by. I sort of started to let it go. I moved on to other things. And he called me and he's like, look, we did the animatic. And unfortunately, her voice, which is amazing, but it's very low, very deep, it just didn't fit with the character. And Fox decided they didn't like it. And they wanted to bring me back in for a test to see if it would work. And so I basically overdubbed everything that she did to a pilot that had already been animated, and then a week later he called me and said I got the part. So that was how that all went down.
Strangely enough,
It's pretty crazy.
a similar kind of story to Mark Hamill playing the Joker in Batman the Animated Series. He wasn't the original voice of that. The person who was originally cast, Tim Curry, of all people.
Really?
Tim Curry, for whatever reason, it didn't work. They had already animated it and everything, and so Mark had to redub everything to the animation.
I feel like that might be more of a common story than yeah. But anyway, it's been the role of a lifetime. It's been so much fun.
Can I jump in and ask you the thing that I'm sure you get asked a billion times at these things?
Yes.
Everybody has a different route to becoming a voice actor. Was this something that, going back to those He-Man and G.I. Joe cartoons, that you wanted to do this? Was this something that you were seeking out as you were moving into being a performer?
Such a good question. No. Absolutely not.
You'd be surprised how common that response is.
No, I mean, in my small town in Connecticut, this wasn't obviously a field that a lot of people got into. So it wasn't something that really occurred to me. And I was so hell-bent on musical theater and being on Broadway and doing my thing. And then, again, when that didn't really pan out, and I just realized that wasn't the life I wanted for myself, it was you know, my brother, we're very close, and he's so wonderful, and he's guided my career. And he, when I came out to visit him, he said, I think you'd be really good at voiceover. I really think you should give it a try. And it had literally never occurred to me. And so it's like, all right, I'll try it. And of course, as many actors will tell you, you know, you do it one time and you're hooked. It's so fun, and the people are so fantastic. And then I went back and I watched videos of myself in college, Boston Conservatory, as a musical theater major. And I realized I'd been doing this forever. I mean, this is what I stuck out like a sore thumb in these videos because I was doing all these ridiculous, stupid voices. And this was what I was supposed to do. And you know, I've been doing it now for 20 years, and I love it.
You mentioned the Boston Conservatory.
The Boston Conservatory.
What were some of these ridiculous characters you were playing?
Oh, just in our sophomore review, right? Like we were, I can't even remember the song, but all of my singing was up here, and it was very cartoony, right? And I had my friends that were doing power ballads, and that just wasn't me. It was definitely in my cartoon.
Oh, look at these people who don't want me to work.
Hi.
Such lovely people, letting me be lazy.
Hi, Rachel. Big fan of yours and your brother. I'm actually originally from Rhode Island.
Are you?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Rhode Island. You know, there's a song about Rhode Island, right? Do you know that song? Rhode Island is famous for you. Rhode Island is
Yes,
famous.
ma'am. So this is a two-part question.
Right.
Where do you see you and Jeff going? And does Stan and Jeff and you actually get better in the new season?
How much do you like your job, Rachel? That's what that question sounded like to me.
Well, I mean, obviously, because the season that hasn't even aired yet is in the bag, right? So Haley and Jeff continue their journey. They get into a lot of, they try to be, I think I can say this, I'm just gonna, you guys can keep secrets.
No one's gonna put this on the internet.
No!
We don't have YouTube,
They become like big time Instagrammers, right? Like traveling around.
Influencing.
Yeah, influencing, exactly.
Hashtagging.
So old, I didn't know that word, influencing, right?
Swipe up for the something.
Yes, I mean, actually, in a handful of episodes coming up, Jeff becomes Haley's inadvertent savior in a way, in his stoned way that he does. But as far as Stan's relationship with Haley and Jeff, no, it's pretty much continuing the way it always. I mean, like, he has his moments where he tries to maybe give Jeff the benefit of the doubt, but it always goes south because Jeff is Jeff, and we still smoke a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
You look so cute.
Thank you.
Are you a Hufflepuff?
Yes.
Woo, I knew that one.
10
Love
points
you,
to
Harry
Hufflepuff.
Potter.
I have the biggest crush on your brother.
Oh.
What's it like working with your brother?
Do you know, there's a mom at my daughter's school that, are there a lot of kids here? Yeah, she's just like always saying the most inappropriate things about her. You know, things she like, yeah, it's bad news. Anyway, so yeah, you're more age appropriate. What's the question one more time?
What's it like working with your brother? Like, do y'all have any sibling rivalry going on?
You know, we.
When you record, are you even doing group reads, or are you recording individually?
Not anymore. No, we record individually. But Seth he would direct the sessions for a long time before he got so busy with Orville and all the other million projects he's doing. I know.
Saving the Galaxy.
Right? Me some Orville. But he is. I mean, as I said, we've been doing theater together since we were tiny. So we share a lot of inside jokes, and when he is directing me, you know, if I'm not getting it, he's like, remember that Barbie record you used to have? And I'm like, oh yeah, he's like that. You know what I mean? So it's easy for us because, you know, with siblings, you kind of have your own language. But he is so much fun to work with. And we, like most kids, fought like dogs when we were kids, and we got to high school and we became friends, and we haven't really looked back from that point. I feel really lucky to be able to work with my sibling. Are there Orville fans? Like a lot of Orville fans? Yes! So, you know, I'm the voice of the ship on the Orville, which is one of my favorite things that I'm doing right now. It's so much fun. And I was just on the set on Wednesday because my daughter had the day off from school and she had never seen the set. And they're just wrapping up the second season and it looks so good. Oh my God, it's gonna be really, really good. And if you guys are big fans of Star Trek Next Gen, which you know, Orville is just, that's a love letter to that show. It takes it a little further than it did last season too. I think, with the first season done, he kind of felt like he could breathe and really make the show that he really wanted to make, and I think you guys are gonna really like it. It's good. Hi.
Hello. I really like your voice, especially with singing. I was just wondering what kind of vocal warm-ups and exercises you do.
Such a good question. It's a timely question for me. As I mentioned earlier, I am no longer in my 20s. And you know, your voice bounces back a lot quicker when you're young, and it's becoming more and more challenging as I get older to do a lot of these characters. I'm working on this new show right now that premieres next year on Nickelodeon where I'm playing a warthog, right? And so it's a lot of snorting, and it's just kind of like down here, and it's a little rough, and it's a little, you know, and sorry kids, it really shreds my voice. So I found that I've had to go back to my musical theater roots in the last couple months and actually warm up before I work. And I mean, for me, that's just doing scales and really, really getting my voice warm, and also making sure that I'm so dorky that I'm like supporting from my diaphragm when I'm speaking. Because I find that if I actually make those adjustments, I'm okay after the session and I can get through it. But honestly, that's one of the reasons that I don't do a ton of video games, and the ones that I have done, I'm a newscaster usually because I don't want to shred my voice. So I want to take those
hours of grunting and punching and falling
and screaming and yes.
It's incredibly damaging.
In awe of people that do that, especially day in and day out. You know? Excellent question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elder Pros.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, I should see.
Right? Oh my God, I can't stop singing that because so many people here are from Orlando. I love you. Sorry, I'm such a musical theater.
No, well, here's the thing: is now, I'm regretting not greeting this person by saying, "Hello, look, it's Elder Price."
So good. He's doing a ton of voiceover now, right? Like he's on Sophia the First, and he does what's he on Vampirina? He's like cleaning up in voiceover. Hi.
Hello. You you voiced number 362 on
did.
Codename Kids Next Door,
Yes.
and I'm wondering how was it fun to be playing a kid rebelling against adults, even though you're like self-rebellion basically.
I think it was probably, I was a lot younger when I did that character. It was a while ago. I feel like I was maybe in my late 20s when I did that character. And those sessions were really fun too because we were recording as a cast. So it was Cree, Summer, and me, and Dee Baker, and it was really, really fun. And I think I appreciated the rebellion element of it more because I wasn't a parent yet. But I think if I was recording it now, freaking kids. No, that is not okay. Brush your teeth. No, it's better that I was doing it then. But I love that show.
Yeah, I missed that show. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who are you?
Summer Butterfly.
I'm so old.
You said you were in musical theater. What's your favorite musical?
Favorite musical? What a question. What an impossible question.
Impossible question. I wish I had an answer.
What's your favorite dozen musicals, Rachel?
Favorite musical is kind of obscure, but I love it. I'm a Sunday in the Park with George fan. I know, I love
With
Sunday.
Mandy Patinkin.
Yes, with Mandy Patinkin.
With that beautiful voice.
That's actually a really good Mandy.
It's the one marketable skill that I have. Is
Mandy
Mandy Patinkin musical theater voice.
So I was on the phone with one of my best friends the other day, and she had just made a big move with her family, and she was talking about, the challenges of the move and questions around it. And I was leaving her a voicemail, and I was like, you know what? It's like Stephen Sondheim said, move on, stop worrying where you're going, move on. And then I started laughing my ass off. I was like, I'm such a dork. I'm leaving you a really sincere message, and I'm singing Move On. Yeah. And of course she cried when she heard it because we were in college together, and she's a musical theater dork too.
This is my favorite part of this because I do the same thing where I'll be talking to a friend, not realize that they're not as conversant in Sondheim's Merrily We Roll Along as I am, and they'll be saying something like, I feel like it's time to move on, I need to find a new job, and I'll go, you know what? Something is stirring, shifting ground, it's just begun.
That's why they put us together. That's why they put us together, because they knew.
They knew they were going to get in this kind of trouble.
Sunday in the Park with George.
I'd just like to ask, with your brother writing the show or anything, has he ever snuck in any in-jokes just between the two of you? Or any lines where as you're reading it, you're like, I can't believe you have me say this?
Well, I mean, go ahead.
Again, how many children are
I
in
know. Inside jokes, no, because there are 16 writers writing the show. So, and of course now he has so little to do with the writing. But early on when he had a lot to do with it, there were some table reads where I think all of us were like, can you say that? Can you do that? I think it was season 1, I may have been season 1, where I hope this will go over some youngins' heads, when Roger calls somebody a see you next Tuesday.
Season 1 was very much one of those kinds of, well, let's see what we can get away with. Let's see what they notice.
Yes, but I will tell you a funny story about Seth not getting one of the jokes in the show that he was reading. So this was back when he actually came to the table reads. Again, he's so busy with Orville that he just can't be there anymore. So we have writers that sub for Stan and Roger. But he was there and he was doing Stan, and Stan was eating something. And Seth's at the table read, and there's 60 people there, and the line was, he says, what? It's Jacama. Jacama? Jicama? You mean jicama? Because he does these reads cold. He doesn't look at the script before he does it. And he was like, oh, Jesus. It was really funny. Because he also never messes up. Occasionally, if he does a Family Guy table read, he'll read a Stewie line as Brian. And it happens so rarely that everybody starts applauding and making fun of him. Because he's perfect. He's perfect. It's a little bit infuriating. Wait a minute, I want to go back to a question that somebody had about sibling rivalry. Who had the sibling rivalry question? Sorry, because So, understandably, when you have an older sibling and you're both performers, there is some sibling rivalry, right? It happens. And so we're, yes, we are sort of volleying to see who's getting further and further. But when he became the youngest executive producer in television history at 25 and, you know, whatever, signed a $200 million contract, I had to let it go. You know, there are just some moments in your life where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna let it go. And there's that.
You've done so many great voices.
Thank you.
This is a quick two-part question. What's your favorite character that you've ever done? And for anybody who's looking to get into voice acting, what kind of advice would you give them?
Excellent questions. My favorite character that I've ever done, honestly, I think I really had fun doing Olivia from Family Guy. That was a really fun character. And luckily she's come back, and I think she's had 3 episodes or something, and that was really fun. And also we got to sing together, and I had a great time with that.
Now, getting into voiceover, I mean, this is not a simple answer necessarily, right?
No, but I can give you a complicated answer and a simple answer. The complicated answer is, you know, just if you really love it and you really love what you're doing and you want to do it, just keep doing it and play around and mess around and get as silly as you possibly can in your car, and practice as much, you know, crazy shit as you can. And then, you know, really take a look at the people that you know. I mean, honestly, most of my voiceover friends, we all have somebody that sort of helped us. And okay, so in that vein, Dee Bradley Baker, who I have worked with for 20 years, and he is not only one of the nicest people I've ever met, he's also one of the most brilliantly talented people I've ever met. And Dee's been doing this forever. Out of the goodness of his heart, he created a website, and it's iwannabeavoiceactor.com, and he updates it all the time, I mean, really, all the time, with some of the most incredible inside information about how to make your demo, how to get an agent, how to behave in auditions. Like, it's a roadmap if you actually really want to pursue this. And it's not something that, you know, you don't have to just be in LA to do it, right? I mean, people need voice actors everywhere. So if it is something that you're interested in, do yourself a favor and check out this website. I mean, I go on it and I learn something new every time. So check it out. Hello.
Hello. What would be your favorite Roger persona?
That's a really great question. Oh, there's so many. Chex Lemino.
Yes.
Jenny from the block. Ricky Spanish. I was one of those girls, by the way, who gets to say that every time.
Is there any costume you wish he could have in the future?
Any persona that Roger wishes he could have?
Yes.
I don't know, with him, Stewie, Peter, that would be kind of funny. So we've been pitching this idea to Fox, and now TBS forever, and at some point, we're hoping that somebody takes it and goes with it. We want to do like a Mr. Potato Head Roger, with the attachments being all the costumes. Wouldn't that be amazing? Right? Because he's already got that shape. I know. If only. Someday. Thank you. Hi.
It's Anne, by the way.
Thank you.
My question is, there's so much nostalgia in like Family Guy and American Dad, and I'm about the same age as you, and so me and my husband get like all the Goonies, Rick Astley. I'm wondering if that, in Star Wars, if that's something from your and Seth's childhood that you grew up loving?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
Totally. Seth is obviously, he's a big musical theater dork like me. And
Him? No,
I
don't
know,
believe it.
it's
Don't
really
believe it.
Shaboopy.
The girl that turned again.
So he did go through a phase, as we all did, when we were, I don't know, maybe junior high, maybe a little earlier, where he dabbled in pop music. You know, he might have had a Samantha Fox tape. And also Rick Astley. That was never gonna keep you up. Right, we love Rick Astley. So yes, absolutely. I mean, Goonies is huge. I can quote you that entire movie. I think it's funny because our parents were not like no TV parents, right? I did not grow up in a restrictive household by any means. And so Seth and I watched a lot of TV. And you know, people say, oh, your kids are never gonna get anywhere if they watch so much TV. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really pan out for him.
Right, didn't really pan out for him.
No.
Right? Or, yeah, he's he's an animation major. Oh, that's a bad investment. Right?
Yeah, no future there, no security.
So, and as I have already referenced, like, what, Shapoopy? That was such a random ass thing. But we love the Music Man. And like, he does that whole number, right? Like, that's a 3 or 4 minute chunk of the show. And do you know, the next day, Shapoopy was the most Googled word on the internet. We're bringing a little culture, right? Culture, educating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, to be selfish again, I want to take us back to musical theater because we haven't done it enough. What was your like go-to audition song?
Oh.
What was your go-to? You knew we were going to get here, right?
I didn't.
Oh.
So, when I was in college, I thought I was a belter. I wasn't. So I think I did.
Everybody tries to convince themselves that they are, and then they discover.
I had to do a ballad and, you know, like a big Broadway belter song. And I did, this is random, a song called Once You Lose Your Heart from a show called Me and My Girl. Anything? Crickets?
Yeah, no, I got it.
And then I did Don't Rain on My Parade. What? I was 18. It was a mistake. I got in, but God, probably just by the skin of my teeth. Hi.
Back. I got another question.
I am here for you.
Your brother's shows are my favorite shows ever.
Okay, good. You can stay.
All amazing. My favorite bit are the Conway Twitty bits.
Oh, it's so random.
My dad's a big Conway Twitty fan, so I grew up listening to a lot of Conway Twitty, and I love when he ladies and gentlemen, Conway Twitty, and I love the hee-haw reference and the Conway Twitty bit. We haven't seen them in a while. Are we going to see those again anytime soon?
You know, I think there is something in the season of Family Guy that we just finished. I feel like Conway Twitty came back. So, funny little side note here. Alex Borstein, we all love Alex, right?
Everybody's seen The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? Yes. That she is phenomenal.
So, Alex, who was so wonderful, she moved to Barcelona about 3 years ago. Did anybody know that?
Where's she going?
I know. Sorry, no, you're on your own there.
Sorry.
So they were left with a gap at the Family Guy table reads for Lois. And periodically when she would be out of town, they would call me and I would come in and I would sort of pinch it for Lois. Well, now it's for the past 3 years, it's been my regular job. So I'm at every single Family Guy table read subbing for Lois. And with that being said, yes, I have lots of Family Guy information. It's really fun. And I have to tell you though, the last 2 weeks, each table read has started with, let's start by congratulating Alex Borstein on her Emmy for Lois. Let's congratulate Alex Borstein on her Emmy for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. All right, Rachel, take it away. Hello.
Besides your obvious love for music, what else inspired you to release your own CD?
That's a really good question. I love jazz music. I always have. And singing is my first love. I mean, again, I thought, wow, something big and fluffy and pink just walked by the door. Sorry. That's my moment.
You're at a con. Yeah.
I know, sorry.
It's Saturday.
There was a part of me when, do you want to hear, there's a story.
I think that's what we're here for.
Okay, I have a lot of stories.
We're here for the story.
So Seth was recording his first album, Music is Better Than Words. You guys heard that? It's such a good album. And harkening back to Sibling Rivalry, we each kind of had our thing, right? I was the singer, he was the artist, and then subsequently voice actor. And when he was like, hey, I'm recording an album of like jazz standards, I was like, right, like kind of, even though it wasn't really something I wanted to do anymore, it hit me like as like a 10-year-old. I was like, that's mine! It's not yours, don't do my thing. So he called and he said, hey, will you come to Capitol Records? I'm recording the record and I'd love to have you there. And I said to my husband, I don't want to go. Like I literally, it was like a petulant kid. I was like, I don't want to go. And watch him live out this thing that was like my dream, and my husband, wonderful man he is, was like, you gotta go, it's your brother, you're his only sibling, you gotta go support him, he's asking for your help. So I was like, fine. So I went to Capitol Records, and we're sitting in Studio A where Frank Sinatra recorded all of his records, and he's got this huge orchestra, and he sounds amazing. And I'm sitting next to this older gentleman who I just started talking with, and I don't know, somehow it was around Christmas time. And he was like, what's your favorite Christmas movie? And I was like, oh, White Christmas. I'm a huge Rosemary fan. And he was like, oh, I managed Rosemary, for 20 years until she passed away. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I manage jazz talent. And I was like, oh. And he's like, do you sing? And I said, I do. And he was like, well, why don't you send me something that you have? And so I sent him an old demo that I had, and then a year later, I was in Studio A at Capitol Records recording my album. It was amazing and such a thrill and so much fun. And what I learned from that experience, I had a great time doing it, still love the record, but it turns out jazz albums don't sell a lot and they don't make a lot of money. Unless you're Michael Bublé, right? Or Tony Bennett. Or Jay Monheit. So, it was taking me away from my kids a lot, and it wasn't yielding a ton, and I wasn't really ready to make the time investment that it needed to sort of see that through. And I decided, okay, this is one of those moments in life, right, where I kind of have to choose what I want to focus on, and voiceover won, and I'm so happy that it did, because that was probably 5 years ago. And since then, I've done so much singing on all of these different shows that I'm on, and I'm still getting to sort of feed that part of myself, but that's my Haley Sing story, so there you go. Born from Sibling Rivalry. Hi.
So my mom is from Connecticut, and my grandma's from Rhode Island.
Nutmegger.
Family. Yeah. So, and I know, we talked about the Shikoopy episode. Tom Brady was on it as himself. He's still my heart. And
sorry guys, I'm from Connecticut. My parents are from outside of Boston. I am a Pats fan.
So I was wondering if when, like Tom, I know he did his own voice and stuff, if you got a chance at all to meet him or anything when he did that, I would have been like stalking the voice from just like.
So he recorded that episode from the Patriots training facility because he is, sorry non-football fans, he's such a dedicated player. And he's there all the time. So he, he wasn't willing to compromise his time, so he did it from there. And Seth saved a voicemail message from him that he left, and he was like, I got something to play for you. And he played it, and it was really cool stuff.
We used to go up north all the time, and we would go to training camp. And I remember one year he smiled at me, and I was like, Mom, I can die right now. I was like, I'm so good.
All right, one more thing, and then we'll get off of this topic. Sorry. I met Gronk 2 years ago. He came for a table read at Family Guy. He's 20 feet tall. And he's the short one in his family. Seriously. I know, they're like, fuck this football talk. I am out of here.
I'm a Bucks fan. I'm leaving.
My daughter, who's 9, learned the F word on Wednesday because we were at the Orville set and she had headsets on. And oh my God, my husband and I kept looking at each other like, well, we lasted 9 years.
Well, there's the family tradition.
It was a good, I pat myself on the back for it. 9 years solid to keep your child from knowing the F word.
Look, you did better than most, if we're being honest.
We had, as I said, very liberal parents, and we had a rule in our house, which was, if you need to swear, if you need to get it out, you can, if you stub your toe, you can go. Like, you can say whatever you want to say, as long as you don't do it outside the house, because obviously we want you to be polite and well-mannered and, good people. And, oh my God, my brother was the worst. The words I learned from him.
What a teacher.
And then there was this one time that my dad, again, our town was tiny, 3,000 people, rural Connecticut. He took my brother and his best friend on a camping trip. They went up to this mountain, and he let them just scream as many curse words from the top of their lungs, just to get it out of their systems. Clearly it did not get it out of Seth's system.
He's still got some in there.
He's still using them. He's still using them.
I've got a couple for you before we wrap things up. We talked about roles that you've played, voices you've done, that kind of thing. as a music theater nerd, as an animation nerd. I assume you have a little bit of affection for Disney princess musicals.
Oh my God.
If you had the choice to play a Disney princess or a Disney villainess, could you choose?
Well, I'm a big Ariel fan. Is that Ariel out there?
Poison ivy.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't see what was going on below the hair. But Part of Your World is one of my go-to karaoke tunes. I love it. And as far as villains go, I played. Oh, I'm about to get politicals. Oh my God!
That's okay. I'm going to tell everybody to vote for Andrew Gillum for governor.
I played. Oh my God. Ann Coulter the other day. How crazy is that? It was super fun.
Satan herself.
It was super fun. I know! On an animated show. You're gonna have to figure out which one it was. And it wasn't Family Guy, and it wasn't Family Guy.
Sophia the First, then.
Yeah, it was Sophia the First. You're getting really... Yeah, no, actually, it was Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry.
But Disney villain, Maleficent, I have to go Maleficent. Yeah. Oh, so good. What a great character.
So, jumping back to music theater to wrap things up, dream music theater role that you still want to play, that you still want to get under the belt, that you haven't gotten a crack at the conservatory, in school, any of that kind of stuff?
I know, I've played, Guinevere in Camelot was one of my favorites I've ever played. Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors. Seth and I did a summer staff production of that. He did it twice. He was Audrey 2 in college, and then he was Mr. Mushnick in our production together, which was hilarious. I have a photo of that, so I should Instagram that.
That would Instagram would explode.
Right, that would be a good one. Right, there it is. You guys. So yes, they are reminding me of my sort of big news. So this year, I undertook a project that is my favorite thing I've ever done, honestly. I am a published author as of November 6th. I wrote a children's book, and my husband is the illustrator, and it comes out on November 6th, and it is called Eleanor Wyatt, Princess and Pirate. And it was inspired by our 9-year-old who is a tomboy, not your typical girl. She, in preschool, she was the king, not the queen or the princess. She was a cop. She was just kind of off the beaten path, and some kids started picking on her and making fun of her for it. And
those kids are now dead.
Yeah, those kids are now dead. And I decided, I was like, I'm gonna, see what's out there in terms of kid lit to show her that, as a child, play should be gender neutral, if you will, right? I mean, kids should be able to play however they want to play. There shouldn't be boy colors or girl colors, or boy toys or girl toys. However you want to play is how you should be able to play. And you should not judge your friends for what, I think this spans into adulthood too, doesn't it? Like just letting people be who they are. And so I wrote this book, and Macmillan snapped it up, and so that's coming out November 6th.
November 6th. You can pre-order it at a bookstore, at Amazon.
At Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy your books. And then next year we have Harrison Dwight, Ballerina and Knight coming out, which is a book for, more focusing on little boys and the idea that boys have to suppress emotion and can't feel things the way we let girls feel things, to try to, help out with that a little bit. So yeah, that's my exciting new project.
Who's pre-ordering this? All of you? Okay, good. That was the correct answer.
Thank you, friends.
Yes, thank you.
I'm terrible at self-promotion.
Nobody else has anything? Before we finally wrap up, I was going to ask if I could get a favor from you all. We have a wonderful crew that is running this show and making the show run on time and run smooth as butter the whole weekend. Can we get a round of applause for the crew? You're here the rest of the day today, you're here tomorrow as well.
Yes, I'm here today.
How many of you have not gone to see Rachael in the exhibit hall yet?
Come see me.
Shame on you, you still have an opportunity to make this up. You can go right upstairs right now. Let's hear it one more time for Rachael Macfarlane, everyone.
Hi.
they don't really ever see each other, then it might work.
Can I ask you to do the Death Kid impression? Is anything that?
What's your favorite line from Sully?
Favorite line, toilet paper line.
Yes, the toilet paper line. Every time I go into my hotel room, if the toilet paper is not completely pyramided, I'm upset. If I touch it, I feel like asymmetrical garbage.
Thank you.
You're excused from Mandy homework, by the way. You're too young. You can't watch Mandy yet. Hi. What's your favorite Zelda game?
Probably Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask. That's an odd choice. Not a lot of people find that to be their favorite. What makes it